just to look at one workbook at a time, but to look at the aggregate of all the product of all the users. I mean, look at what the servers are doing and how the whole thing works together. So let me just switch here to a different view. Let's go to this one here. And now we have integrated into the SharePoint management facilities. We have integrated the Power Pivot management dashboard. Let's drill into that one. And
while it thinks.
Yeah, here it is. It's coming. So the Power Pivot management dashboard gives us insight into what's happening in the servers. For example, these are the query response times that we see. These are the average instance memory. So we can manage our servers here. See, now, analysis services manages itself mostly. That is, in SharePoint, you put analysis services in a farm, and it will decide what content of the workbooks will be uploaded and downloaded based on the demands of the users. You don't have to manage it one by one. But you want to see whether you need to add more memory. Maybe you need to add more servers out there.
Collection applications gets really interesting on one server.
And what's interesting about it, the source code for this dashboard, I'm actually going to show you the source code for this dashboard.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
We don't usually do that.
We don't usually. This is it. Okay? Just Excel. What we've done here, all the statistics about the usage, the access, the queries, the response time of the Power Pivot ground applications for all the workbooks together are just collected as Power Pivot workbook, and I can go in and just create my own reports. So this is one of the, I think this is what we have right now on the dashboard. You can just go in and say, I'd like to overlay it with a count of connections, and just click. It works because it's just connecting to another Power Pivot. This is a regular Excel working against it. Then we just saved it back to Power Pivot. Power Pivot, the whole dashboard that we have here, around here, it is just it's just a page, SharePoint page with a bunch of web parts. Here it is, a bunch of web parts. You can edit it. You can put anything you want on it.
That's great. So IT professionals can customize it and track the things that they really care about tracking in their environment.
You can build any set of reports.
What are some of the other things going on here?
So you can see here the set of workbooks that are from the most popular workbooks to the least popular workbooks. And you can see, and we also have another view, this bubble chart. And it's hard to see probably. It says here on the horizontal axis, says how many queries were being sent to the workbooks. And each one of those is a workbook. This is the one that we've seen, the MoveLia CTP3 workbook. This is
it's quite popular.
Yeah, it's quite popular. It has over 2,000. It has over 80 users using it. And we might be interested in figuring out how this one became so popular over time. So we can just go inside here. Let's go back in time. And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I heard a what?
And look at this. A long time ago, this was not the most popular one.
Yeah, what happened way out here? So what occurred?
So this is the SQL VSTS defects workbook. This is the bugs workbook. This is what we use internally to track our bugs, to fix the bugs, and it was very popular. Apparently, we did have some,
we're showing source code in the bug database. This is going to be a fun conversation back at the office.
But this was a month ago, right? And as we're approaching CTP3, you can see that. Just let it
the
run.
Release is not going in the right direction.
No,
That's
not going in the right direction.
Now, so it better come back the other way.
There we go. It's stabilizing.
There we go.
We have less and less bugs, and suddenly the demo database is showing up as the most popular database, right? So, yeah, we're doing less bugs, we're doing more demos, right?
There you go. Good. That's great.
Okay.
That is great.
Now, I might be interested to see, so what's in it? What that guy created. I'm the IT guy, and what that guy created, what's going on here? So I can just click on it, and I'm being launched into a reporting services report, being connected to the same Power Pivot workbook, and it gives me everything I need to know about that workbook. And we created it just, you can create your own, by the way. And you can see who created it. It was Lee that created it, and I can see how to contact Lee, and I can see what data sources Lee was using. I can see that he was using a couple of reports for this workbook, and he was using also connecting to our data warehouse here. And I can see also who is using it. I can see that I'm doing a lot of demos with it.
Yes, you are.
But Bob is doing a lot of demos with it. And I'm thinking, Lee is just an end user, and Bob is pretty important. And I'm worried that if Lee screws up something, Bob will be over my back. So maybe I need to do something about it. Maybe it's becoming too important to let Lee manage it on his own. So I can go and contact Lee and say, Lee, maybe I can help you. Let's review together what you've done. Maybe you can tell Lee, you've done a good job. Time for you to go. I'm taking over. So, but I have control. In the past, these guys were just sending those emails with those workbooks attached. I had no idea what was going on.
Yep.
Now I'm in the loop. Now
That's
I can
great.
take action. Okay, so that's kind of what we're doing here. You know, look at the whole integrated value proposition here. Unbelievable power for end users to create their own rich applications. Great way to share it in very exciting ways on SharePoint. And then look, the role that we give and the powers and the insights that we give IT, and even the control that IT now gets, you know, controlling those user-created applications.
That's great. And I love how you really focused on the user experience. Thanks so much for giving us the tour, Amir.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you joining us again. So what we focused on a lot was the set of experiences. And remember a key point that Amir made. He made two big points here. One, it's already built on what your users know and what you know. And two, it's quite extensible, and you can customize this to fit your environment to give you the type of contextually relevant insight into what's really happening. What do you need in order to do this? Well, for the client-side functionality, the Power Pivot add-in for Excel is just an add-in that's available for download and works on Excel in Office 2010. End users get new forms of agility and a way to work with data, both on their own through Office 2010 and as a team in SharePoint to be more effective in how they share and collaborate. And IT professionals and BI practitioners get the power of SharePoint and of SQL Server with the familiar analysis services environment to go ahead and manage that environment and really gain new insight into what's truly happening out in the wild with the data in your organizations. Now, I want to challenge you to go use these products. I want to challenge you to focus on delivering a new set of experiences. And I'm quite confident that you can do so. This is another area where I'm quite bullish. Let me tell you why I'm bullish about this piece too. And that is, we really only gave the product to a few customers to work with when we did the August Community Technology Preview just a few short months ago. And yet, if we can switch to the monitor, hang on a second. I think somebody in the back room is refreshing me. This is live and fun. Okay. I feel refreshed. And so, I put out a call. I was thinking about, sharing some customer stories, and I said, hey, has anybody out there built any interesting customer applications using Power Pivot in the first CTP? And in fact, the answer came back yes, and there were a lot of people who were. I was both surprised and pleased by that. What's more compelling to me, though, is how interesting some of the experiences are and the applications are, both in terms of building them and in terms of the types of things people are doing. And I want to share 3 quick examples with you. First, we're going to take a look at an example that was provided. We were going to take a look at an example that was provided by Mediterranean Shipping Company. There we go. Mediterranean Shipping Company is the second largest shipper in the world. Does mostly overseas shipping, but also handles cross-land shipping as well. And Mediterranean is one of these customers that has access to competitive information through publicly available sources. There's a lot of customs and importing tracking that goes on for all of the lines that do shipping. And getting better competitive knowledge lets them get great agility about figuring out which markets to go into, how to expand, and what to do. The team at Mediterranean read our early information that was available to them to get ready for the availability of the August CTP. And I confirmed this during a lunch meeting with a member of their team yesterday. They built their solution initially 3 hours after they got the August CTP. There are 33 million rows in this solution. Pretty incredible. And they're anxious, I can tell you because they keep asking me about the availability of the next one, they're anxious to get their hands on the November CTP as well because they believe this can be a truly effective tool for them going forward. Let me give you another example. Care Group. Care Group is the parent company managing Beth Israel Hospital, the teaching hospital for Harvard Medical Center. They have a couple of terabytes of patient information that they manage in their environment. HIPAA compliance requires that they keep a close eye on that data and audit it. They took advantage in SQL Server 2008 of transparent data encryption, and it was one of the things that motivated to get them to get to 2008 early. That put them in great shape to do the small incremental upgrade to SQL Server 2008 R2 and start to have some new experiences with Power Pivot early on as well. And what they've done here is built a dashboard for themselves that provides audit information over who's accessing what databases, what types of data in the information, and where. And in their environment, what's different and special is if you've ever worked in a healthcare environment, it's as crazy a mixed up heterogeneous world as you'll get into. This data came from a lot of different systems and had to be mashed up together. Now, they're using many thousands of rows, not tens or hundreds of millions of rows. And I don't think that the hundreds of millions of cases is going to be that typical. That's not what we're suggesting. But everybody should benefit from a great new user experiences that can be offered. The last customer I want to show you, and this is another one of these stories about something that happened quickly. This is from Bank of New Zealand, who were kind enough to share their application as well. Now, a member of the team visited the Bank of New Zealand folks, and at Bank of New Zealand, they sit alongside about 1 million New Zealanders and provide very customized and end-to-end financial services for them, from loan and investment management through personal wealth management, personal banking, et cetera. And for them, they have a fairly complex environment where they have multiple different hierarchies that they need to match up to do reconciliations at the end of months, quarters, and on a regular basis. And what they've got here on one side is a rather large volume of information from the general ledger. And also in this environment, they have P&L information that comes from a totally different system. And they've built a pretty rich dashboard to help themselves through a bunch of fee reconciliation and things they need to do. A member of our team visited them literally like 5 or 6 weeks ago, gave them a quick view into what was coming in Office 2010 and in SQL Server 2008 R2. And this was really surprising to me, because when I put out the call for this, Bank of New Zealand was one of them that came back a couple of weeks ago. And what I came to find out is they're another case of somebody who built a fairly complex solution in short order, just a week's time following that visit for them to get serious and go do something and put together what is now providing great utility for them. All of this makes me confident that you can do this too. If it wasn't enough to show you some customer examples and give you a tour, if we can switch back to slides, I want to give you one more little impetus. I know giving things away always is a good way to get you excited. So we're announcing this morning a sweepstakes, good for just the next couple of days here. You can get all the details by going to www.twitter.com/powerpivot. Basically, you need to retweet the message that you see here, and you will find there, including the hashtag PowerPivot, and you'll be entered to win an Xbox 360. We'll select the winner out of the pool of people who've done so, who've retweeted this message, and we'll ship out an Xbox 360 to you. More importantly, though, I want you to think about what you can really do with all of this stuff. So what's next? Bear with me for just a couple more minutes. First, you've got a great learning opportunity at PASS this week. Go kick the tires. Try it out in the hands-on lab. Go to the partner pavilion. Go to the Microsoft booth. In the Microsoft booth, you can actually try out, if you're a games guy and you got excited about that Xbox 360, you can go sit down and try out a racing game that someone has actually instrumented with a dashboard that's driven through all of our visual components in SharePoint. It's a pretty fun thing to go check out and see. Interesting use of BI. The other thing you need to do is get yourself ready for the November CTP. That November CTP is right around the corner, as is the availability of the previously announced availability of Office 2010's upcoming next beta as well. And lastly, we know how important being a learning community is to you and how important it is to us. And so this morning, I'm announcing that we made available actually live yesterday on TechNet a new concept we're piloting. A place where we bring together our books online and how-to information that we provide from inside of Microsoft, along with the best of the community information that's available through something we call the BI Resource Center on TechNet. You'll be able to check that out at www.microsoft.com/TechNet BI Center. And what we want there is for you to give us some feedback on whether that tool and that experience about learning more about how to do things in BI end-to-end across the entire solution stack works for you as an education method. And maybe we'll replicate that to some other areas of the information platform. Now, as we take stock of where we are and we think about the road ahead, it's important to look back a little and remind ourselves that we have come a long way together. We made tremendous investments from way back in 7.0 with the focus on the enterprise, the push we've made around data warehousing, the original investments we made in bringing pivot tables that were linked to analysis services to that experience in Excel, the work to add reporting services, to add integration services, master data services, which we talked about yesterday, the complex events processing engine in Stream Insight to help you do more things in real time and to do clickstream analytics, the parallel data warehouse edition. There is so much that's going on that's exciting. And next year we'll talk about more uses for things like the Vertipack engine. We'll talk about things like great new metadata, lineage and impact analysis. We'll talk again about data quality, which I referenced last year, a great step forward that we'll take in future releases as well. But for this year, I want you to focus on the opportunity that's ahead. That opportunity to take advantage of what's right around the corner and get yourselves tooled up to give some new experiences. A little fact. This is the first